Good morning, everybody. Welcome to one of the last sessions of the day and of Digital Dealer. We're glad to have you with us. And we're going to introduce ourselves for the ones of you who don't know us. I'm Isabelle Kamga. I work at Google, and I've been there for now over 8 years. Originally, I'm a national from France, and fun fact about me, I have 2 children who are the main reason I have big bags under my eyes in those days. But aside from my children, I'm extremely passionate about Google. The whole reason why I started working with them was because I wanted to work for a company that had a product I loved. When I was a student, I was part of a group that tried to crash Google by putting in the same search results at the same time. We never managed to crash Google, but it made me fall in love with the product. And when I first joined, I started working in YouTube and then moved my way up different teams until the past few years when I've been working with the Auto team in channel sales.
And I'm David Goldzwig. I work at L2 Team Media. I'm a product supervisor there, doing a lot of work in paid search, display, paid social. From Chicago, and I've got a couple rescue pit bulls who I'm really passionate about. And before I got into advertising, before I went to school for advertising, I actually went to culinary school and I was a chef for a little while. But I found my true passion in digital media.
So both of us are very passionate, and one of the things that we do at Google and that we work with the L2T Media team is the core mission of Google, is to make the world information available to everyone. And yes, we do advertising, but for us, information is one of our key drivers. And so today, the session is going to be information. The reason why you're here is to hear about some of the product updates and some of the trends we have identified at Google. So we have a study, actually we have a few studies that come out every year. We know that consumers, your customers, change every so often. They used to change every 5 years, now they're changing every 2 years. Next time you'll know they'll be changing every 6 months. And we have those studies in order to help our customers advertise to their consumers, and in order to help the consumers get the information they want when they need it. So today, we're going to talk to you about two of those studies, Micro Moments and the Path to Purchase study, where we'll talk about video. But before that, we want to tell you about some product updates we've had recently. And to us, it's kind of a cherry on top of the cake for this session, because those product updates are quite recent. They just came out in the 2016 Google Performance Summit. And some of those updates are actually revolutionary in the sense that we're touching the way AdWords is set up in a way we haven't done in the past 10, 13 years. So David is going to tell you about the product updates. And then I'm going to tell you more about micro moments. And finally, David is going to help you understand the impact of video in your work, in your area for auto dealers.
Alrighty, so these are the updates from the Google Performance Summit 2016. First, we've got expanded text ads, which I'm sure a lot of you are probably familiar with, responsive display ads, device bidding, click-to-message, and local search ads. Some of these are already beginning to roll out. Some of them are coming in the future. But they're all things that you have to look forward to use in your advertising. First, and I think one of the biggest changes that we've seen on the AdWords platform since its inception are these expanded text ads. So you're getting significantly more real estate to craft your message, differentiate your brand, and take up more space on the search engine results page. These, used in conjunction with your site link extensions and other extensions, are going to help you capitalize on the space that's available on the screen. Second are going to be responsive display ads. How many people in this room have been scrolling through an article and seen a pop-up display ad, accidentally clicked on it, had a horrible user experience? Right? I'm sure that's happened to everybody, and it's extremely annoying. Nobody enjoys going through that. So with responsive display ads, it's a new product coming out where people are going to be able to just include a headline, some description text, and an image URL. and Google will automatically change the size and the format of your ads to fit natively in the content that you're enjoying. So no longer will you have to, go around ads or try and get them out of the way in order to continue reading what you're interested in. And in preliminary studies, there's been it's been seen that there's up to a 20% increase in click-through rate, but once these are rolled out, the full numbers won't be available. Next, we've got device bidding, which has the potential to be extremely powerful. In the past, you'd be able to set bid adjustments for mobile, but you can't really make mobile campaigns ever since Enhanced came along. So this has the potential to be extremely powerful, but it could also be very dangerous. Myself, Isabelle, and everybody at this session has probably been talking a lot about mobile. And so some people might be tempted to use these new device bidding options to just go full throttle on mobile. But it'd be my advice, and what I would do in practice is testing this out slowly and not fully jumping in to any big-time changes. And then next is click-to-message, which is a very similar format to click-to-call, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, and probably drives the majority of leads that you're getting in the AdWords platform. And click-to-message is just going to provide another avenue with which you can engage with customers on a daily basis. Some people may feel more comfortable in that situation and use text over a call, and it just provides another way for you to interact with your consumers and potentially lead them down the path to purchase. And then lastly, our local search ads, which are very powerful, and they kind of, the big thing here is you need to make sure that you're on top of your GMB page and you're updating your location extensions in AdWords. If that's not all updated and all set up, you're not going to be able to take advantage of some of the local search ad features, which include promoted pins and things of that nature. So what you have to look forward to, expanded text ads, which are rolling out now. In October, it will be the only one that you can upload to Google. And then in 2017, it'll be strictly expanded text ads all over the Google search result page. And then responsive display ads, creating a better user experience with display and easier creation function for advertisers. Device bidding, bringing back the opportunity to really hone in on what devices are important to you. Click-to-message, another avenue to reach consumers. And local search ads that really take advantage of the near-me trend that we've been seeing recently.
Thank you. So for these product updates, one thing I want to highlight is that it's going to be quite difficult for the average user to jump on these product updates and implement them. And that's the reason why my team works with partners like L2T Media. We know that they have the expertise to help you work and implement those solutions. And as an example, with expanded text ads, L2T Media was one of the few companies that was in on the beta and that has the ability to select a few of their advertisers to get started with this solution. We see that it's a much more powerful solution, higher click-through rate, so a better investment for you, and that's why we work hand in hand with partners to bring those products to market faster and help you get the benefit from them. So moving on now about our studies and what we've identified on our customers' behaviors. Every year, we look at consumers when they're in market for buying a car. And what we want to know is how long are they in market for? What do they do before, during, after? What influences them? What makes them tick for something? And what makes them make a final decision? And recently, what came out is that people are completely crazy about their mobile phones. How many of you have not touched their mobile phones today? So it goes beyond that. Nomophobia. Have you heard of it? Fear of being without a mobile phone or without reception. I should have put here the picture of my best friend. She came from Europe to visit me with her husband and her baby, and she spent half of the first night in front of the door because she wanted to see the Facebook updates from her friends who were sending her messages saying where to go in California. And it was like, you don't need to go anywhere, you're with me. No, mobile phone in front of the door. And we have a good signal in the house, but she was convinced that it wasn't working fast enough. And what we see in the most recent studies is that people use their mobile phones up to 150 times a day. Actually, not up to, that's the average, 150 times a day. At work, book tickets for Coachella, for instance. That's the hipster, having a life. Play Scrabble at lunch while waiting in line on their phone. Buy a new tote to take to Coachella, really a hipster. Wake up and read the news online. On the bus, read articles about Coachella. So all of those are moments, micro moments. And some of those moments matter more than others, right? So think of one of your customers. The moments will be text Jim, check the time on my phone, read the text response from Jim, send a work email, post my vacation photos, text Karen, take pictures of traffic, especially in San Francisco, it's quite interesting. Post pictures of traffic. Is that interesting to you? Not really, right? What do you do with that? Do you want to put an ad when they're texting a picture of traffic? You're not going to be there at the right moment. So those are moments. And we have now what we define as micro moments, the ones that matter. Toyota Camry, that's just a search. Toyota Camry versus Honda Accord. And then read reviews about the Camry. Watch mountain biking videos, look up local Toyota dealers. So out of all the moments before, now you add the micro moments, and you have time, location, interest from those consumers. And that's why we call micro moments that truly matter. They're loaded with intent, immediacy, content. And as a consumer, we're expecting you to know what we're trying to do. We want you to understand what situation we're in. And we expect you to also meet our needs immediately. So let's not think about cars. Let's think about pizza. If I say pizza right now, and let's say I'm walking down the street, I want you to understand that I'm walking down the street and I'm saying pizza and it's noon. So probably you want to say pizzeria near me and show me results where I can just walk through the door, sit down, have a pizza. If it's 7 p.m. and I text pizza and you see that my location is maybe closer to home, well, I want you as an advertiser to understand that I'm likely to not want to leave my house. I want to be lazy tonight. So tell me about delivery. Do you have free delivery? Do you have fast delivery? Do you have a service that maybe even has pizza and other things? And it's the same in auto. So if I text Toyota Camry, well, maybe you can try to have a result that says Honda Accord, because I'm still vague and I'm open to having some information. When it comes to buying a car, when people are in market for buying a car, 75% of the research is done online. So for a car dealer, it means that there's potentially 25% of that time that's available for you or that's offline. 75% of the time spent online when they're researching for a car. And there's also a 14% growth in the use of digital media to look for a car. So what triggers that growth? Two areas. One is the time spent on mobile, and the other one is the time spent watching videos. And mobile, it doesn't come as a surprise. And I think if you're advertising and you know a little bit what your provider does about campaigns, you have probably noticed that more than half of the search results, or search queries actually, come out on mobile. It means that mobile has surpassed desktop. Mobile searches are more frequent than desktop searches. People now very often don't feel the need to sit down at a computer to ask for information. They're on their mobile. Everything is so beautiful and perfect, if things are well done, that since 2014, it's been 2 years that mobile triggers more searches than desktop. And I think that if you don't have a mobile strategy, then talk to your provider and create one. Mobile is crucial. Mobile is very important. And for mobile, plus those micro moments, there's lots of micro moments that you can reach your consumers at. But for the auto industry specifically, we have identified 5 micro moments. And if you have to leave here thinking of just a few things, remember that big product updates, I'll work with someone to implement that. But for my consumer, there's micro moments and there's video. And here are the micro moments. First one is which car is best, the which car is best moment. Then you have, is it right for me? Followed by, can I afford it? You're becoming more and more serious about it. You really think that you're going to buy it. And then, where should I buy it? That they're getting closer and closer to the dealer, to the physical interaction. And finally, am I getting a deal? So which car is best? I want to tell you a story. The story of when, a little bit after I arrived to the US, I had been living in the UK, in London, so city girl, and for many years, we arrived here, bought our first car with my husband. I was not too happy because it was a big car, in my opinion. It was a Subaru Forester, and I thought, oh my God, my family is going to disavow me. And my dream when I was a student in France was to have a Ford Fiesta. And when I say dream, you cannot even imagine. Like, some people want to have a Ferrari. I dreamt of having a Fiesta. I was like, or a Golf, you know. And so the Volkswagen Golf ended up being the dream. I was like, it's fast, it's powerful. So I arrived here, and it's my turn to buy a car. My husband is like, we moved to the suburbs because we had a baby. And I'm like, Volkswagen Golf, yeah, here I come. I arrive in the store, and I put the stroller in the trunk, and I sit down, and I'm like this, and I'm thinking, oh, there's not enough space for the car seats. Great. So result is, now I'm a Californian, and I bought a Subaru Outback. And when I see it, I don't even think it's big anymore. So the bottom line here is that people don't really know what they want until they start researching. And it's not just me. 6 out of 10 car shoppers enter the market unsure of what to buy. And some of them are even sure, and they're still open to influence. And the reason why they're open to influence is because of research. It's not here, the slide is not here, but in the which car is best for me, there's a component of how many data points do you leverage. It was 18. People used to have 18 sources of information 2-3 years ago. Now it's 24. They will have newspaper, they will have friends, they will have reviews, they will have searches, they will have video information. And it's crazy, but they research so much that you see they can start with searching for a Honda Passport in the green one, and then at the end, they end up buying a Nissan. This whole research path makes them open to new opportunities. And in that research path, there's lots of micro moments. So for micro moment, which car is best? The first action that people take when they're on mobile is to view images. And on mobile alone, last year, first half of last year, we had more than 12 million views of automotive videos on YouTube just for people who were in market for a car. Imagine, that's not just YouTube views, that's people looking for a car on their mobile phone. 12 million views in half a year. And that was last year. When I was working at YouTube, I was in charge of giving targets to the teams that generated views and that worked with partners to have content. So I can tell you there was a steep growth that was required year on year. If it was 12 million in just half of last year, half of this year is probably even more. Not probably, it is even more. Next micro moment is it right for me? And for is it right for me, you can reach your consumer during those micro moments because you have information through us on the search interest of your customers. There's increase in search interest from last year to this year, 15% increase in interest about trunk space, towing capacity, 30% increase, panoramic sunroof, 31% increase, backup camera, 23% increase. Is it right for me? these search terms and the increase in search term tells you about what type of cars your consumers are interested in this year. 2 years ago, it was probably gas. I want something that's not a gas dinosaur. Now it's panoramic sunroof. Everyone is doing great. I want to live the life. 3 times increase in car configurator searches on mobile. So if you think of, and I'll have it just this time, but the other times we can talk about it after the session. But if you think of what you can do as an advertiser, as a car dealer, to address those moments, to win the is it right for me moment, you can feature those driven searches. You can have video featured too and be present on videos. Be present when people do photo searches, since they're so active watching images. And you can be present when there are car configurator searches. So all those micro moments, it's not just information, it's you can do something about it. An example of a company that did something about it is Fiat. Fiat was no one 5 years ago, right? They had been out of the market in the US for 28 years. That's a long time, 28 years. And they had a lot of success in Europe with that tiny car. And you wouldn't think that the US is the market for a tiny car. But what happened is that there was a combination of immediacy and intent, with gas prices being high and cities becoming more and more congested. So what they saw is that in the US, there was an increase in search terms for the cars that addressed those needs. And they had campaigns that were targeted towards city car and gas mileage. And so they created an entire campaign around I need a small car, and they created this I need a small car moment, and they had a huge success. I don't know how it is in other parts of the US, but in California, I have never seen so many tiny Fiat cars. From where I come, when I was a babysitter in France, I remember thinking I will never buy a Fiat. I would stop at the light and I would hear the gas inside the tank, and I was like, this is the worst car ever. And now I see those Fiat and so many people driving them, and they're cute and they're fashionable and they don't consume much, and you're in the middle of traffic and you're thinking, yeah, a small car is nice. Anyway, I can still dream. I'm sticking to my big car. But they had a lot of success with people who lived in cities, needed smaller cars, needed to park, needed to consume less gas. So they won the is it right for me moment. Think about that. You don't have to have the powerful campaign that an OEM will have, but you can have something at your level. The next micro moment is can I afford it moment. Oops. Let's see. Can I afford it? Again, when you look at search terms, we have a 25% increase year on year in MSRP and list price searches. And 70% of MSRP and the list price searches are done from a mobile device. So again, micro moments, mobile, big. And then 17% year-on-year increase in the terms for trading value. So that gives you an idea of how to structure your campaigns, how to be present on mobile, how to advertise for people who want to know what they should do. Next one is where should I buy it moment. And no surprise here, where should I buy it? 1 in 3 call or locate a dealer from a mobile, one in 3 of your consumers. So they're just on the go, and they don't need to do it at a computer and then print the map and come to you. Straight on the mobile, they will come to you. And there's a 2 times year-on-year increase in the search term dealer near me. So what do you do about that? If you don't have a Google My Business page, or at least some information on Google Maps, I strongly suggest you get something on Google Maps so that you can be located. Have your information, phone number, opening hours, so that people can find you, know when to reach you, know when to come to you. So there's a lot of things you can do here, and they match exactly the way your consumers act. Interesting stat. I want to leave you with this for this specific micro moment. Where should I buy it? 20% of people who are in market for buying a car say that they learned as much as they could online. So they do all the research online. That's why it's 75% of the research time that's online and only 25% that's offline. They learned as much as they could online, and then they went to the dealer to confirm their decision or complete the paperwork. Yesterday, I was asking Dave how he bought his last car, and he said, I went to the dealership where my parents always go. That's our family dealership, and I just bought a car. And I said, yes, but before that, what did you do? And same thing. He did a lot of research online, figured out what car he wanted to buy, and he reached the dealership. He knew what he wanted. So you don't have to do the convincing now. It's about being present so that people can find you, telling them you have the good deals, the right cars, and then closing the deal, making sure that they close the deal with you. They come to you, they've already done their research. Maybe you can sell them a few accessories, but they know what they want, and it's wonderful. Less time trying to educate them for you. And finally, am I getting a deal moment? So you've all seen people on your parking lot with their mobile phones, right? And you think, oh, they're comparing the prices. Yes, they're comparing the prices. They are. But not all of them. Actually, while half of them use a mobile phone while on the parking lot, 34% use it to look at consumer reviews. So what can you do? Well, make sure that you have information on the consumer review front and that they feel that you are educating them even though you're not doing it here face-to-face, because they prefer talking to a mobile phone than talking to a human. Fine. Then you'll put the information for them on mobile phone. And 30% review the description of a specific model. So it means that mobile phone on the parking lot, it's about getting a good deal, but not just for money, making sure that they get all the specifications they need, making sure that, yes, the review says that car is good, and the reviews say that that dealership is good. So you can do something. The old mantra is that you want people to come to you. The new mantra is that now you bring your dealership to your customers, to your consumers. You have all the information online, and then you have the information in person. And if you do this right, people will come from further away than ever before to buy a car with you. Actually, our first car, we drove all the way from San Francisco to Sacramento because they had the color we wanted and a car that had been driven for 1 mile only. So people will drive if they think that they're getting a good deal, they're buying what they want. And that means you can also increase the area where you're searching. So in the deck that we shared, we're going to have the summary of the major points for every single one of those micro moments. You will have access to this. And do print it out to understand what your consumers do, what your customers think, and where you can reach them. Micro moments. Which car is best? Is it right for me? Can I afford it? Where should I buy? And am I getting a deal? So I told you before that there's 2 areas fueling the increase in research time online. One is mobile. The other one is video. And David is going to tell you more about video.
Exactly. So the mobile path to purchase is a huge element of what's happening in the automotive industry right now. And more important than ever is being present at all of those different moments. And one way that is growing and you need to be there is with video. So there's time spent on mobile and then time spent watching automotive vehicles. Currently there's 58% of car shoppers that turn to their mobile phones on a daily basis to do research about a car. And 33% of automotive research is done on mobile phones. And 59% of automotive YouTube views occur on mobile as well. So mobile and video are now more important than ever. And video has had a 220% year-over-year growth in automotive video watch time. So it's growing quickly, very fast, and it's necessary to be involved. I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard, and Isabelle alluded to this a little bit, that people are spending far less time at the dealership. The stat of like less than 2 times, they're visiting less than 2 dealerships before they actually make a purchase decision. And a lot of that has to do with the amount of time they're spending online watching these videos. So people are using online video as a place for doing vehicle test drives, checking out different options and features of the vehicle, doing a walkthrough of the exterior and the interior. So they're spending all of this time getting a feel for the different options they have in the market, what the car looks like, and by the time they get to the dealership, they've more or less made their decision. And increasingly, the place where people are watching all of this video is YouTube. There are 4 million in-market video views per day. So this is a broad statistic, but there's 4 million daily in-market video views on YouTube. And that's more than OEM sites, and that's more than dealer sites, and that's more than social media. So YouTube is the place where people are trying to find this content. And if you think about 4 million in-market views, so these are people that are actively in market, but 86% of all automotive video views, so that's even more than 4 million per day, are taking place on non-official brand content. So the OEM might be making a bunch of flashy and wonderful vehicles that they're putting out for consumers to view, and a lot of people are watching them. But 86% of automotive videos are coming from dealerships and enthusiasts and people that are putting up their own content. So it's very, very important for dealerships to be creating this type of content, because if you're not creating the content for people to be watching online, a dealership down the road is. And if they're watching all of that video online, doing their consideration, going through walkthroughs of the cars, doing a virtual test drive, and then they're doing that all on your competitor's YouTube page, they're never even going to step foot in your dealership. So creating this presence with video online is of the utmost importance. And beyond just creating these videos, creating this content, while people are watching videos online, they're also being served ads. So another way to reach all of these consumers that are watching more and more video is to ensure that you're also advertising. Because online video is the #1 ad format to increase consideration of a vehicle. It's the #1 ad format to drive discovery of new vehicles. So in some cases, somebody may think they wanted a small little car, and it turns out they saw an ad for a bigger one that's going to accommodate their growing family, and that's going to completely change their decision. And video is the #1 ad format to influence which vehicle people are going to purchase. And we've talked a lot about how much video people are actually watching, and that's fantastic. But what's even better is that when people watch video, they're taking action. The #1 action that people take after watching video online is going to their computer, searching more, watching more video, learning more about the car. But the #2 action, which I think is incredible, is 31% of people responded saying that they visit a dealership after consuming online content. So video is out there, people are watching it, and it's driving them to take action at your dealership. So what have we talked about here? Isabelle went through some of the micro moments, the path to purchase, understanding that you need to be there on mobile at the right time to reach customers' needs. We talked about video, where people are spending a lot of time considering the options that they have out there, different brands, different dealers, different makes, different models, different trim levels. They're using YouTube to compare all of these different options, and then they're taking action, but they're taking fewer actions. They do all of this research, and eventually they get to the point where they know the decision they want to make, and they make it. And if you're not there along the way, then chances are they might not make it with you.
Thanks, Dave. I have a question. How many of you are currently advertising for their dealership on any Google property? So some are not. And if you're not advertising on Google, it's great. Everyone has different strategies, but there is an opportunity for you. as you see, you can be there where your consumers are and give them the information. Search is a wonderful portal for being there for your consumers. You can be useful. Video has become the new showroom, so you can leverage video on top of search. If you're doing TV ads, you can even use the same contents and put it on YouTube and reach people who are interested. And finally, you can be quick. Mobile means quick. People want information right away. So always make sure that whatever you have for mobile has a format that works for the mobile phone, has an experience that's wonderful for your customers, and they will want to come to you. Be there, be useful, be quick. That's what we want to leave you with. And of course, do it with Google. That would be even better. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.